Stocks of pharmaceutical companies, you can see some of them right there. They are down rather sharply this after a new tariff promise from the president last night. Take a listen.
We're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals. And when they hear that, they will leave China, they will leave other places because they have to sell. Most of their product is sold here. And they're going to be opening up their plants all over the place in our country.
Let's get to Angelica Peebles. I'm also curious how long it takes to build a manufacturing facility for pharma. Angelica, take it away.
Yeah, David. So a flat tariff on pharmaceuticals across the board would be pretty straightforward, more than the different rates that we saw announced last week. So if the main ingredient of a drug is made overseas, it's likely going to be subject to a tariff. Leerink analyst David Reisinger says that every large pharma company he covers would be affected. But calculating the individual company's exposure is basically impossible with how little they disclose. So the two key variables here are where the main ingredient of a drug is manufactured and who pays for the intellectual property of that imported drug. And the latter detail significantly affects the price that's ultimately tariffed. So on its own, a drug might only be worth the cost to make it, and that's much less than what drug makers charge for it here in the U.S. But when the IP is factored in, it's valued much closer to the list price, and Reisinger says that would result in a far bigger hit to earnings. So while we wait for the details, one lawyer told me that companies are scrambling to sort through their supply chains and the transfer prices of the drugs that they're importing into the U.S. But another lawyer told me that despite what the president says, he doesn't expect to see companies make any meaningful changes anytime soon because there's just so much uncertainty, and these are not easy moves. David, you asked about the time it takes. It can take about 5 years to open a new manufacturing plant. So you might go ahead and do that today, but the tariffs might not be around 5 years from now. So we're really going to make that move right now.
It feels like it was working, the threat of tariffs, because Lily, a month ago, I remember when David Ricks was on with us, with you, talking, they're going to double manufacturing investment in the United States and open 4 factories. Question is, once these tariffs go through, whether they'll still be able to do that because they're going to be having much higher costs.
Right, but if you remember what Dave Ricks said, the big factor in that decision to do more manufacturing in the U.S. was the 2017 tax cuts, because a large factor in why so much that manufacturing has gone overseas is the tax rate. And so now with lower taxes in the U.S., that is the main incentive, and so that's the critical piece here.
Angelica, thank you. Angelica Peebles with an explanation on that potential news about tariffs on pharma.